Welcome to this edition of the Men's Room. I am Linda Tilson, transformational reengineer of life, and I am joined with my partner, Mikeul Hughes, bearded wordsmith. And today we have special guest Elden de los Santos. He is the owner of Diesel Coaching, and he is going to be speaking to us tonight about what it means to overfunction and how we can mitigate that going forward. And with that, I'll let you go ahead and jump right into it, Elden.
Yeah, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Linda. Yeah, so hi, I am Elden de los Santos. So I am a messaging and business mindset coach. So I help part-time coaches build a highly profitable business in alignment with their unique personality and energy so that they can positively impact more lives and contribute to a better world. So because I realize, okay, most coaches out there, they become mini-me versions or copy-paste version of their coaches and mentors. So they don't stand out. They blend in, they lose their authenticity. So they end up building a business that's not in alignment with who they really are. And sometimes they're not aware. And so, oh my God, like what have I built? Like, and then I don't want it. So where should I go from here? So those people are my people. I really help those kind of people. But today I'll be sharing more about overfunctioning. And actually that's the exact reason I shifted. Like I felt like tired of being in corporate because I felt I'm always overfunctioning. And so I realized, even though when I transition into coaching, I'm still overfunctioning. And then what's going on in here? And so until you turn that subconscious patterns like conscious, okay, you, you, you will repeat the same struggles. And so I realized, so maybe if I share this topic, I can also help not just people in corporate, handling teams, but also entrepreneurs and coaches as well. So yeah, that's what I want to share in this podcast. So yeah, so I will share an introduction on how I transitioned because I am an architect by profession. So I had my own private practice. I work with different companies, small and big companies, and then my last corporate job is a large developer. So we're handling multi-million-dollar mall construction projects, working with leading consultants, designers, and businesses in my country. So so every single day you're like constantly saving the day. Like, what's your problem? What's your problem? Let's go. Let's go do this. So you have this like constant high stake, high pressure. So every action you do, like there's a cause implication. So you can simply just rely on your own. You really seek expert help, help. And then so you have this tendency to, oh my God, like that's when I realized that even though I in a rat the bad thing in being in a rat race is that even though you win, you're still a rat. So even though yes, you are in a great position. Like you're handling hundreds of people. You're not talking about like you're talking with the government. You're talking with high profile people, like multi-million dollar people, like who have those assets. And so you feel wow, I'm here. Like I'm having conversation with these people, the lifestyle, but you're still their slave. And so I think this is very common for a lot of entrepreneurs. Like you really hate that feeling of there's someone in authority telling you to do something. I don't know if I'm the only one who feel that. Yeah, you can share your own stories about that. Yeah.
I'm definitely on that same sort of front. Is it's hard to have that authority figure above you telling you what to do because you're like, well, why don't we just do it this way? This way is proven to have results and stuff like that. But then you have that authority figure, whether it's your boss or someone like that, telling you, no, we got to do it this way, and it's like it just doesn't make sense. And it's one of the reasons why
Yeah.
I transitioned into entrepreneurship because you are your own boss. The worst part about
Yeah.
that is when you mess up, it's your own fault. So you can't blame anyone.
Yeah. And that's the problem because a lot of entrepreneurs they don't know how to bounce back. And so before we go through that, you need to acknowledge, okay, what's the root cause of that? It's because you're over functioning. So hence the topic for our podcast episode today. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's a perfect topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can relate
Yeah.
to
So
it quite a bit. Like when you're talking
mm,
about you're helping this person, you're helping that person, and rapid fire, go, go, go. And you are over functioning when you're stepping in every time you see that there's a hole and you're trying to step up and get it done. And so
yeah.
that does two things in my mind. When you are doing that, you're not giving anyone else a chance to learn and to step up and do it. And you're doing yourself a disservice because that takes you away from doing the other things that you might need to be doing. And so you put yourself last, and instead you need to put yourself first, create those boundaries, ask people
Yeah.
to step up. And we had talked earlier, we had talked before this interview
Yeah.
about the whole concept of, asking yourself the question, am I the right person suited to do this when someone does come and
Yeah.
ask you? And chances are, someone that's closer to that line of work, that's the expert. And so just a matter of connecting him to that person. And then next time when that person needs something, they won't be running into your office, phoning you up, and you won't be pulling your hair out and have
Yeah.
nothing left because you ran around the office being frantic. And so this topic to
Yeah.
me is a great one, whether you're an entrepreneur or somebody working in an organization. When you're a leader, that reality can be very real if you don't put it to rest and have those proper boundaries and ways about going about your business. So tell us more
Yeah.
about what you did to change this.
Yeah. 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 So I'll first go deeper because you shared few things, but I will go deeper on how can someone like really work on this. Okay. So I'll separate the term overfunctioning and overfunctioning leader because overfunctioning is very broad topic. Okay. So you can be overfunctioning in relationships with your children or with your partner or with your whatever. Okay. But here we're focusing on overfunctioning as a leader or in your business when you're managing people. Yeah. Okay. So I'll share subtle signs of what when someone is overfunctioning. So just to make it clear, I'm using the word leader. Okay, so we don't exclude managers or entrepreneurs. Okay, but also for us coaches. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I have three traits for someone to know that they are overfunctioning. First is you have high functioning anxiety. Second is you are a chronic people pleaser. And then third one, you are hyper independent. So if you are those three, like good luck. Yeah, so I will break each down and then later I'll share the solution. Okay? Because you shared few things, but I will go a level deeper. So yeah, because because this really comes from my own experience. So I can really share to a lot more people like how am I able to overcome it. So yeah, so first sign you're overfunctioning is you have high functioning anxiety. Okay? Meaning you have this strong desire to control what's happening in your external environment in order to feel safe. Okay? You're trying to control because in your mind, until everything is cleared, I can feel safe. So it's not just about mount boundaries. So it means there's something going on in your mind and you can't stop it. So if you don't know, you need to set boundaries like I can't do it. Like right, sometimes you just can't. Okay, because it's a deeper problem. Okay, so it's primarily driven by fear of failure, fear of judgment of others, losing control. So okay, you set high expectations, high standards for yourself and with others. Okay, oh they can do it, I will do it. Even though no, you that's not your job. No, I can't stop this feeling. Right? Because high functioning anxiety. Okay? So you try to oversee every detail, even though it's taking up your time doing most important things. So you're constantly stressed out and exhausted. For example, for us coaches, because we often see other people's potential, we try to influence their way of thinking. So they follow our advice, right? So that's coaching in itself, right? So the problem with that is sometimes we overdo it. We impose what we think is right for them without fully knowing their personality, their unique nature as a human being, like what's really happening in their lives. So sometimes we push them harder. Like then we resent it because they haven't made any progress. Right? Can you relate? Like, have you ever had those kind of experiences where you felt, I think I overstepped into this person's life? Right? So that's what I realized from my experience before when I'm starting out and also helping other coaches overcome that. Okay? And because we're also human beings, we become hypercritical with ourselves. And so we see it as a reflection of our effectiveness as a leader, as a coach. Okay, so we start judging ourselves. Overfunctioning. Okay, so yeah. So later I'll share the solution for this, but do you have any questions or anything you want to share related to that?
It's probably around overfunctioning and just judging oneself. I guess I'm always that sort of part of me is like, just I'm not good enough. How do I know my skill set is adequate to do the job? And
Yeah.
constantly backpedaling with your skill set that you currently have. Because I know I'm competent in areas. It's just,
Hmm.
how do I know? Like, how do you actually know you're competent? Because there's always something more to learn about a certain
Yeah.
subject or a certain area, and it's interesting
Yeah.
to try and figure that out, because it's one thing to learn a skill, but it's one thing to actually know the skill in depth and how that skill can help translate into running your own business or helping someone else, things like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's not feeling of good enough. Starts with because you're trying to help everyone. Of course, you can't. What if you only focus on that person next to you? What are your problems? Can I really help you with that? Yes or no? Then there's no, oh, am I good enough? Because you're just talking to one person. And that's the problem with a lot of new coaches. They're trying to help everyone. So they compare themselves. "Ah, I'm not like that coach." Of course you're not. It's a journey. You will learn a lot more. So you don't need to pressure yourself like, oh, I need to be like that kind of person with those skill set already. Because right now, I will help people based on my current skill set. And that's it. If I can't, I will tell them because sometimes we don't acknowledge our limitations. So that's the challenge. So we're creating contests, we're talking to people based on what we know, but not based on who we are. So that's why we sabotage. Can I really help? Okay, so yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, but later I'll share more in depth how to solve the overfunctioning in terms of the how to stop the high functioning anxiety. Yeah, so I'll proceed with the second one. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead and
Go
proceed to the
for it.
second one. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so second one is you are a chronic people pleaser. So meaning you have a strong need for approval to be liked and accepted by others. So this is very common for new leaders. Maybe you just get promoted. So I really need to perform. I need to show that I deserve this. So you can't say no. Like I will be here for you. Like oh, there's a lot of pressure. So sometimes that's where the challenge is. So I can do everything. Let me know what you want. I got you. Okay. Yeah. So that's the problem. Okay. Because yes, you're helping. You feel like they need me. I feel loved. So that's the crucial thing here because for different personalities, there are certain personalities where you get like feel love is when like words of affirmations or like you really hear get this acknowledgement from other people. Okay, so what happens is okay, I'm getting dopamine hit here. Okay, I will work more. First one to arrive, last one to leave. You skip breaks, you don't set healthy boundaries. Okay, you avoid conflict. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. You avoid conflict. Okay, because you avoid confronting people because your main focus is maintain harmony. Related again to high functioning anxiety. But because you're chronic people pleaser, I don't want you to feel bad about me. So yeah. So you avoid the conflict. So yeah. So it's the same in running your business. When left unchecked, okay, it will impact your relationship or even your health. So this it happened to me a lot of times. I remember when I had my own private practice. I have 17 people. Oh my god, you're 7 people depend on you, like their income. So you can say no, you can't eat today or next week. So you have this constant, I need to look for new clients, I need to go out there, I need to do everything to make sure that all of these people will get paid. And so until wait, you're working holidays, you're working Sundays. Yes, it's financially good, you're stable there, but they're constantly in high stress, high stake environment. So yeah, I don't know if yeah, for sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to that. It's just they have a bigger reason why they keep going. And so when I realized back in the during the pandemic, wait, there are a lot of options aside from doing this, okay? Because it's not about how hard you row, it's about what the boat you're rowing in, what boat you're in. Because you can be rowing, you're working hard so hard, but if you're stuck in a job where it's limited, your earning potential, it's the same hard work that will get to the millions or what. So I really had to think during those times, wait, is this the only way? Because I don't know anyone in my circle who are pursuing other things aside from what we studied from school. So it's scary, but yeah, I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, like the willingness to go first.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think
So
that's one of the issues is trying to find which boat is the best for you and which boat to go to,
yeah,
especially when you don't have anyone else that's doing the same journey as you were. It's just like, well, do I choose this boat? Do I choose this boat? Do I choose this type of job or this type of path to go study? And it's just trying to figure out logically
yeah,
what's the best path. What can I move up in? Like choosing a career
yeah,
path that you can start small with income and slowly scale as
yeah.
you increase your knowledge and your experience.
Yeah, yeah. And that's different for different people. That's why it's really important to expand your self-awareness. Okay, what are my values, my strengths, my weaknesses, my personality, and my energetic blueprint. That's part of what I give people based on the date you were born. There are certain traits and certain strategies that will work for you. So that's how I help my clients. So based on that, okay, so it's different from different coaches, of course, but that's how I help my clients based on the date we're born. It's like we're animals. From the date we're born, some let's say some people are born lions, born like a bird, born like an elephant. So now the business strategy for a bird is different for a lion, and that's the problem with a lot of coaches. Because they're not aware of themselves. They don't know, like, what are you talking about? Like, huh, how can I figure this out? So actually that's called human design. I'm not sure if you're familiar with human design. So because I incorporate human design in my strategy, so I can really help people based on your human design from the date you were born. This is the strategy that will works best for you. You don't have much energy, okay? You don't have consistent energy. You're not the type of person who can go, because not all entrepreneurs have that strong energy. Some people, they have inconsistent energy, so they can't strive in a business where constantly going. How can you automate? How can you build these things for yourself? So you don't lose that momentum, because that's the challenge. Like, no, you just keep going, but no, you need to acknowledge, like, if you're a bird and then your coach or your mentor is telling you to simply just keep running when you're not meant to run, it's going to hurt. So yeah, so again, go back to people pleasing. So you don't know, like, because you put people on a pedestal, they know the right thing for me, they've done it, but wait, maybe you're a different breed or what. So yeah, so that's for the
But
chronic people pleasing. Later, yeah, I'll share the solution how to overcome that. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
definitely
you
one of
have
the biggest
anything to
problems
say?
with people pleasing and stuff like that, because you want to please everyone. You want to do right by every sort of like situation, everyone that's around you, and it is hard to sometimes say no. And if you fall into that vicious cycle of constantly saying yes, then when you say no for the first time, you feel bad, you feel guilty, you feel like you're doing something wrong, and that's
Yeah,
where I learned very early on just to be like, stuff it. I'm going to be direct to the point, find out the answer, and if the answer isn't what I like, say no. That's all you can do at the end of the day, because not every situation
yeah,
is meant to feel good. Not every journey in entrepreneurship are you going to come out on top and be happy or be satisfied. Some decisions you make will leave you with a gut feeling of despair or disappointment because you let things go too far or you let them go on too much. Like it could be choosing to get this certain supply for this material and thinking that supply
yeah,
is doing good. They might have a shortage of one material, and then all of a sudden they stop supplying you, and they're like, "Well, I should have said no to them earlier on." But because you did it, you have to pay for your mistakes. And I've seen this with a couple of
yeah,
different businesses that I've helped out with, like just businesses I've helped out for free, but it's still something that's prevalent in them because they're not sitting there actively assessing their situation. They're constantly saying, yes, I'll get
yeah,
your stuff. I'll pay for your stuff. Yes, yes, yes. And not no. Because that no will make them step back and realize, well, that might not be the best option for me. Instead of just saying, yes, I'm
yeah,
not going to think about it.
yeah. That's the benefit of hiring a mentor, especially for businesses, someone ahead in their field. So regardless whatever industry they're in, they need to have a mentor, because unless they're willing to accept all those things as charged by experience. That's what we call it in architecture construction industry. It's charged by experience. You just accepted it. Like, I lost a lot of money here. So charged to experience. So the next question here is, okay, how can I bounce back? Okay, where can I get my next client? Or what can I do next from here? So, but it's constantly like that. So you're stuck in that if you're not that will affect your body long term. And so that's the challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs out there. So yeah, regardless whatever industry, it's the same thing. So yeah, later I'll share the how to overcome this, like becoming a chronic people pleasing. You shared a few things there, but later I'll go deep. Yeah. So the third one, sign that you are over functioning is you are hyper independent. Okay, meaning I will help you. Sure, why not? But don't help me. I can do this all by myself. Okay. I'm a lone wolf. I'd rather do it myself because based on my past experiences, people let me down. So now I have trust issues. And only me can do this. Like, trust me, I can handle it. Okay? So are you seeing how this perpetuates the high functioning anxiety to control even more? Like, oh,
Yes, it's one
right?
large
So,
snowballing effect when you don't take charge of it.
yeah. Yeah. So that's a difference. High functioning anxiety is driven by fear of judgment, fear of failure, not being good enough. Then hyper independence, having trust issues, being let down so many times in the past. So you form this belief that I can only rely on myself. All right. So for example, for us coaches, okay, maybe you're running your entire coaching business alone. Marketing, lead generation, calls, admin tasks, video editing, posting, coaching clients, everything. Right. So now you have this dilemma like, why am I not having more clients? When in reality, you don't actually have more time for clients because you're too overwhelmed. You have so many priorities, you have competing commitments. So over functioning. So sometimes these things we're unaware, like I just want more, like give me more, I can handle more. But wait, if if the universe or God will give you more, can you really take it? Like your schedule with let's say you have this emotionally like charged client, like can you really handle that? Like a lot of them all at once. All right, because of course you will get resistance from people. I can do this. So you will feel and then your hypercritic, like your inner critic, they're not following my advice. So what should I do from here? Like what should I do next? Should I push them harder or what? So yeah, those things we don't see it. The only thing we see is I'm not getting clients. So that's something we need to okay assess. Okay, in my or even in managers. Okay, maybe you want to lead your team, you want to reach your quota or what, you can't because you're too focused on micromanaging instead of doing the strategic planning. How can I create a plan? How can I fast track? Can I create a training? Can I create an SOP, standard operating procedures, so that they don't always have to rely on me? Same thing to what you shared earlier, Linda. So yeah, so they can point to a certain person and then simply ask from them. So that's the challenge, right? Because they're always too focused on now. How about long term? So we have to balance it. That sometimes, okay, how can I overcome this, like being hyper independent? So yeah, so can you relate so far?
Oh,
With what
no,
I
I
just
can
shared?
relate in several different ways on different threads and that whole like yes you can do it yourself is great to a point until you can't,
Yeah,
because you're right, you can't
yeah,
grow your business or you can't finish that thing if you're constantly meddling or getting in your teammates way. It's like what you have to do is to set the vision, communicate it, have the team with you building the plan, and then you need to stay out of their way. You need to stay out of their way, let them go
yeah,
do, and be the sounding board when they need to bring it back. Because as a leader, it's your job to do less of the doing, and it's more of
Yeah.
setting this strategy to accomplish and being available when there's issues that need to be discussed,
Yeah.
problems that need to be solved. And even then, even in the problem solving, you don't want your teammates always coming to you without thinking about how they might approach it, because the first thing out of my mouth should be, what have you done already? What do you know about this problem,
Yeah.
and how might you go about it? And so really it's about having other people step up and into this role so that you don't have to do so many. And so then you can do
Yeah.
a few things really well. And
Yeah.
people like to micromanage, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And
Yeah.
I know I don't like to be micromanaged. That's the last thing that I want.
Yeah.
I actually want the autonomy. I want whoever might be leading me to step out of my way and let me go do, and then I'll come see them when I need something. So I've been on both sides of the equation. Um, Honestly, the other thing that happens too is people think that by constantly staying busy and trying to do certain things consistently, all of a sudden it
Mm.
becomes this martyr approach, where if I'm not constantly doing something to improve each day, then I must be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, my business has grown more doing less
Yeah.
hours because I delegated tasks that other people's were more suited at to
Yeah.
do. And what I did was I got smart about resting and recharging and putting myself first, saying no to the things that don't
Yeah.
bring me further along. And I've gotten more
Yeah.
success doing that. And so when people start
Yeah.
talking about, shorter work weeks, I'm like, yeah, if you actually think about, does this add value to what we're doing, and does it need to be done now, or can someone else do it, can be done later? Because you could work 16 hours doing all these things that you think are urgent, and maybe they're important, but they're not urgent, and they could be done by other people. And so, it's something that people that are high performers, especially
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, creatives, that we have to learn, how do we balance this in a way where we can actually do that one thing that we're really good at, and then let other
Yeah.
people do the same, do the things that they're really good at.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's the challenge. That's why I'm talking about the hyper independence. What you shared is more like external strategies. But how about internal for yourself? How can I overcome this hyper independence? Because it makes sense. I will delegate. I will do this. I will do that. I can do this. But how can I be okay with that if you're really hyper independent?
It's mental
So yeah, later
muscle.
I'll
You
share.
got to, start
Yeah.
somewhere. You start delegating. You start realizing that you're not the
Yeah.
only one that can do things, and you allow other people to do it. And if they make a mistake, or they don't follow through, well, then you have the conversation about how come you didn't show up. What, but get
Yeah.
curious. You don't want to beat people over the head, because there's times where something can happen, and so you want to get curious about why something didn't happen, and not jump all over people when it doesn't. So there's that fine balance, because otherwise, you got a
Yeah.
different problem to solve if you're jumping on people for not doing things. And so you want to get curious about what that is, and make it a we. How can we work together
Yeah.
on this? And so, that's one of the strategies, is to take the I out of it, and it's everything should be we, and you allow people
Mhm.
to do things, and if they fail, then you learn from the failures. And I would tell you that more has been learned through failure than
Yeah.
by getting it right and just executing to the highest level the first time around. I mean, I can't think of
Yeah.
a time where it was great just to get it out of the gate and be there. No, I've learned so much more when things didn't work out right. And then you're suited for, understanding that not everything's going to run perfectly, and that things are going to happen that are unexpected, and you're going to be able to pivot from those moments rather than be crushed by them.
There's a couple
Yeah.
of points that I'd like to touch upon is you can go fast by yourself, but you can go far with a group, or even just another person. And
Yeah.
that's just it. At the end of the day, it's you can do amazing things by yourself. You can go extremely fast and outcompete the competition. But in the end, they'll end up outcompeting you in the long span, because you can't keep up that fast pace forever by yourself. It's inevitable that you're going to slow down, and you're going to need to rest and recover. And in those times of rest and recover, other people that have
Yeah.
got a team behind them will continue marching on because they're all lending off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Like one team member might be down and out, but the other team member continues, and it continues with that cycle of going forwards. And the other thing that I'd like to touch on is failure. Failure is inevitable with entrepreneurship. Yet most people think
Yeah.
as soon as they've failed once, they've lost, and that's not the
Yeah.
case. Failure is merely just a lesson, and that's what we don't understand with this journey. Is the more you fail, the more you learn, the more you're actually doing good because you've learned how not to do something for the future. You could try to
Yeah.
release a product and have that product fall on its face 5 out of like 6 times, but on that 6th time it succeeds because you need those 5 failures in order for that 6th time to be so successful.
Yeah. 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 And it's constantly improving because you're serving a group of people and it's for them. So how can I further improve, continuously improve? Yeah. So you shared a lot of great strategies. All right. So I will go back to being hyper overfunctioning leader. So hyper independent leader. So okay, it makes sense. Like all these things can help, but during those times, all right, let's say I'm still battling delegating. So how can I overcome that feeling? So that's where my what I will share later. I will share like how can you overcome that. So I will go back to the solution for the three. So recap is the signs you're over functioning is you have a high functioning anxiety, you're a chronic people pleaser, and you are hyper independent. So let's start first with the solution to high functioning anxiety. Okay, actually the solution here is uh setting expectations, like managing our expectations. Okay, because that's actually the root cause of all our disappointments is our expectations. Like, right? So we often shame ourselves, okay, not feeling good enough because we equate that, okay, we're working in team and then we have these high expectations and then they can't meet it. Oh, it's a reflection of me. So now it's about me. I'm not good enough. So you try to control even more. So, okay, so that's a problem. We're setting unrealistic expectations. So is the solution to set low expectation? Of course not. So it's about balancing our expectation based on the situation. So by expanding our self-awareness, knowing our personality, okay, we can accept ourselves. I don't have much energy. I'm not like other person who can keep going. I get tired by this time. How can I create a more realistic expectation for myself? And then for others, okay, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are our differences? They're more like this kind of person. So I will try to adjust the strategy around that. So now you're not simply imposing what you think is right. Because that's very common for us. Like, no, I can do this. Why can't you do it? All right. So there's this expectation. And the root cause of that is simply because they're not aware that we're different. Oh, yeah, we're different. So same thing to what I shared earlier. Like animals, we call ourselves people, human being, but we're different species. Like animals, like lions, elephants, birds. We're different. So we can simply tell a bird we can invalidate an elephant who can't fly. Of course, and then tell them no. You will get better over time. No, maybe that's not the right thing. So yeah, so far is it making sense? By understanding our different personalities, we can accept others and also not project it as a flaw to ourselves. What do you think? Yeah.
There's some definitely good lessons in that, and I want to have you on again soon because I want to unpack this subject in and of itself. There's so much that we could talk about just in this one subject that we're discussing. So it's definitely good to set it up in the future, but I'll probably let you continue on with your other 2 solutions behind it because we'll have to revisit this topic in the future because there's so much that we could just expand upon within the first 3 subjects.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm writing the book. Yeah, for that. Yeah, like that's that the really I'm still working on it. So I'm just really excited, like to share. And then maybe there will be more stories, more experiences. So I'm just that's why I'm open for like let's talk about this more often. So for sure there will be a lot more that will come up and then I can also address that. Yeah, later on. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the next is remember high functioning anxiety, and then chronic people pleasing. So sometimes we always get this advice of set healthy boundaries, right? So sometimes it's easier said than done, right? If you don't develop emotional intelligence, okay? You need to improve your ability to recognize, understand, manage your own emotions, separate your own emotion and other people's emotions. Especially if you're an empath, if you're sensitive. There are high tendency that if someone is uncomfortable, I will feel uncomfortable. And so I really need to help. I can't stop myself from helping people. So how can you stop? Even though no, you need to set boundaries, but I can't. Like that's the problem. How can you overcome it? Okay. So how to overcome it is you learn how to self-regulate. Okay, not just setting boundaries because that's external strategies. How about for yourself? Okay, because now you will. Why am I triggered? Why am I feeling uncomfortable when this person is uncomfortable? It's not my concern. Maybe I'm feeling this. It reminds me of my relationship dynamic with my parents, where I feel abandoned. So I don't, because I'm getting like some sort of approval from this person. If they reject me, it reminds me of my childhood trauma or experience where I felt abandoned. So now, I will do everything. Don't leave me. No, I will do. No, I will work. I will. Like, you can stop it. Even those people are telling you, no, you need to set boundaries. It's hurting your. It's hurting your business. It's hurting your relationship. I can't. How do I stop it? You need to learn how to self-regulate. So there are
See,
different ways to regulate. Yeah.
I deal with that with one of my family members. Is they have no idea how to self-regulate their emotions. It's they're in their 40s and it's only just like they've refound their self and their emotions, yet their emotions control them. They don't think logically or with reason or anything like that. And it's sad because you tell them, like, if you just cut this activity out or if you just looked at it in this perspective, then things would change. But it is
Yeah.
something that's difficult to talk to people when they are have trouble regulating their emotions, because you go to talk to them, they get their emotions involved, and it's like it's a vicious cycle. How do you approach them at that right point in time and be like, well, we just need to have a discussion, sit down like adults, and we'll talk about this. It's no hard feelings from either side of the party, but that's just how it is. And that's where this family member of mine, it's just interesting to have these types of conversations with, because I've learned a lot about them, but at the same time, I feel like I barely know them because their emotions are all over the place. They don't know what they're doing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And because they're going through menopause as well, which their hormones are through the roof, their emotions are scattered everywhere. So it's a difficult time in and of itself. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting because it's an interesting learning lesson, but
Yeah.
it's shit because how do you talk to them? So
Yeah, yeah, because there, remember that why it always starts with different knowing their personality. Because some people they're more like anxious or more like avoidant. Some people they regulate by having conversation with people, like saying it out loud. Like that's how they regulate. Okay, there are people where like they will go to their room. I don't want to talk to you. Like I will get out of here, and then regulate. And then when I feel good, feel better, then I will talk to you. But how will you assist them in that during those states? So that's why we have different strategies. You can do journaling, breathing exercises. You can talk, say things out loud to a chair. There are different strategies we learned as coaches to really help people, because sometimes uh, if they don't know how to self-regulate, they will blame you that it's your fault. When in reality, they are the ones who created those stories. They're very reactive to things. So because they didn't learn that I don't have to react to that. Why am I always reacting, overreacting? I don't have to always overreact. But because it's a learned behavior, how can you stop it? When did you first learn that this is the only way? Okay, so it's a skill, life skill we can all get good at. But first we have to, okay, where's this coming from? Because sometimes why you're always like very sensitive, because you will notice a lot of people or like very, what they call that, very active. They are the ones who also have a lot of sickness, health problems. Like I have problem here, I have problem here, because you're always reactive. So your organs like tense. And then it's like you're stuck in fight or flight mode. So you're not relaxed. So your body's telling you something's wrong. And then you go to hospitals, you try this, you try that, it's not working, and then you keep doing the behaviors, you keep making the stories. It's because I'm the victim here. They're always like this to me. So it reminds you of what happened to your past. So you're always reactive. You didn't challenge your thoughts, you didn't challenge everything. So you just take everything personally. I am a victim of my life. I'm so like, yeah. So that's the problem. Like, how can you help someone shift their perspective of being like they're always the victim? Or because you get to decide what you allow. You can change your reaction to things. But because you have stories around it, you create assumptions, you create a lot of things, interpretations. Oh, they're doing this because they want to hurt me. Is that true? Maybe, right? So sometimes it's just challenging those thoughts. So you can change your reaction because no one can trigger you if there's nothing to be triggered at all. So yeah, that's why I said before, like, uh, how to overcome that the people PC is not just setting boundaries. Okay, so no, you set boundaries, but it's easier said than done if you don't know how to regulate.
Oh, definitely. So,
Yeah,
we'll have to expand upon these topics more on another episode because we're running short with time at the moment. So,
yeah.
one thing I was going to ask is if people want to get a hold of you for your coaching services and stuff, where can they find you?
Yeah, actually, I'm active on Instagram and I also have a YouTube channel. I also have my Linktree link. So linktree.diesel coaching. So maybe we can add it somewhere. So they can book a session or simply follow me on YouTube or on Instagram. Yeah, diesel coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts you have, Linda? Because I want to really continue this in the future and touch upon this again.
Well, yes, there's just the perfect opportunity to put this into this conversation. And the fact is that when you are trying to change, you have to have awareness. And sometimes you need someone outside
Yeah.
of yourself, a coach, a mentor, somebody that's not one of your family members, coworkers, and to be able
Mhm.
to help you come to a place where you can actually own that you need to make a change and that you have some things that you need to work through, and a coach can help you do that. They
Yeah.
can help talk or walk you through some conversations where you get the awareness and
Yeah.
realization, and set the stage for being able to have a action plan to rewire, to rebuild that muscle, and you can make those effective changes that are helpful in your life. And when you do that, it'll change all the areas in your life,
Yeah.
because one area, when changed, will change another. And so definitely want to have you come back out on the show, Eldon, because there's so much more that we could go into. And it's been a
Yeah.
real pleasure to have you here today.
Next
Yeah.
time we'll
Thank you
try and
so
get
much
you on
for
for
having me. Yeah.
we'll try and get you on for a longer period of time so we can go into these subjects a bit more. We're just a bit constrained by time, but yeah, it was another amazing episode, and I look forward to future episodes with you. So for everyone listening, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you need coaching services, be sure to hit Elden up. So we'll try and put the links down into the description down below. But I hope you all have an amazing day, and we look forward to the next episode.
Yeah.